Welcome to my channel, USA Battle Zone. Tonight, I want you to lean in, because the story I'm about to tell isn't just another tale from the skies. It's a heartbeat, a memory, a moment that carved itself into the clouds above the Pacific and the souls of the pilots who witnessed it. It begins with a woman sitting quietly in seat 11F. No rank on her shoulders. No uniform. Just a passenger on a commercial flight, anonymous, unnoticed, except for the name printed on her boarding pass. A name that once echoed across comms channels, feared by enemies and honored by allies. No one on board knew that. Not yet. The flight that morning lifted from Seattle, cutting through the dawn like a silver blade. The cabin hummed softly with the buzzing of overhead vents, the muted murmurs of early travelers, the occasional clink of plastic cups as attendants prepared breakfast service. In 11F, by the window, sat a woman in her early 40s. Quiet, steady, her eyes, a calm shade of storm gray, followed the rising sun without blinking. A thin scar traced a pale arc across her jawline, easy to miss unless you were looking. She held her hands together, thumbs brushing against a silver bracelet engraved with a sequence of numbers and letters. A call sign, one she no longer used. The captain came over the intercom, voice smooth, cheerful, routine. Ladies and gentlemen, as we cruise at 35,000 feet, you may notice two F-22 Raptors forming up on our right side. Nothing to be concerned about, just an escort during routine airspace coordination. The passengers stirred, pressing faces to windows. Phones rose. Excitement buzzed, but not in 11F. The woman's expression changed, just slightly. A flicker of memory, like a flame catching the edge of an old, folded photograph. Her breath hitched, almost imperceptibly. She recognized the formation, the spacing, the precision. These weren't rookies. They were Valkyrie Wing, the same squadron she once flew with. Her heart thudded once, hard. She reached into her pocket, took out a pen, and scribbled on the corner of a napkin. Not a full message, just 4 characters. Her old call sign, the one she had carried through dust storms, over enemy lines, through nights where tracer fire painted the world in orange streaks. Raven. She lifted the napkin, pressed it gently against the window. Up in the right Raptor, the pilot, call sign, FALCON2, was scanning the commercial jet, making sure all was green. His wingman, Falcon-1, was drifting slightly ahead. Then something caught his eye. A napkin, pressed against a window, letters big and blocky. Raven. His heartbeat slammed. Falcon-1, confirm visual, he called over the secure channel. A moment, static, then, number way, repeat, no way, is that, looks like it. The sky felt suddenly too small. Raven was a myth, a legend, a ghost pilot spoke about in quiet tones during late-night pre-flight briefings. She was the one who flew into a collapsing war zone to extract 2 downed pilots when every tactical screen showed it was impossible. She was the one who held her fighter steady after shrapnel tore half her right wing apart. She was the one who broke silence over comms that night, voice cracked with exhaustion. Not leaving anyone behind, not today. And after the conflict, she disappeared. No farewell tour, no final salute. She walked off base, hung her helmet on a hook, and vanished into civilian life. The Air Force never forgot her. Neither did Valkyrie Wing. And now, there she was, sitting on a commercial jet, seat 11F, holding up a napkin with her name like a quiet whisper from the past. Falcon-1 steadied his Raptor. Falcon-2 aligned slightly lower, a gesture used only between pilots who had once shared danger. Then Falcon-1 spoke something no one had expected. Permission to salute. Ground control was silent for a moment, protocol frozen by emotion. Finally, a voice came through. Permission granted. Down in 11F, Raven watched the Raptors shift formation. One moved ahead, the other dipped its wing, a slow, deliberate roll. A salute. Her eyes widened. For the first time in years, the wall she had built around herself cracked. She pressed her fingers to the glass. A tear slid down her cheek. Not from sadness, not from nostalgia, from recognition, from being seen again, from being remembered. The flight attendant approached softly. "Ma'am, are you all right?" She nodded, wiping her cheek. "Yeah, just old friends." The attendant glanced outside at the Raptors, then back at her, sensing there was more to the story but not brave enough to ask. Raven reached into her bag and pulled out a small patch, faded, fraying around the edges. The Valkyrie Wing insignia. She held it in her palm, staring at it. Then she whispered, not to the attendant, not to the passengers, but to the sky. Thank you. Falcon 2's voice shifted, softened with disbelief. She still has it. She still has the patch. Falcon -1 swallowed hard. After everything, after all these years. For a full minute, the Raptors flew not as machines of war, but as guardians, honoring one of their own. Falcon 1's voice came again through the channel, low and reverent. Raven, if you can hear this, welcome home. Inside the Raptor cockpit, his hands trembled slightly on the controls. Falcon 2 added, choked with emotion. Ma'am, thank you for everything you gave us. No one in the commercial cabin heard their words. But in seat 11F, Raven closed her eyes, and for a moment, she felt the comms headset around her ears again, the heavy night air of combat, the trust of her squadron behind her. She whispered the response she used to give them. Valkyrie Wing, eyes up. As the flight approached its destination, the Raptors peeled away in a final, sweeping arc. Passengers applauded, thinking it was just a cool maneuver. Only Raven understood. It was farewell, not the farewell she had given years ago, quiet, hidden, incomplete. But a proper one, a warrior's send-off. The aircraft dipped and banked into the clouds, leaving streaks of sunlight across the wings like golden scars. Raven closed her hand around the patch, holding it to her chest. The cabin's intercom chimed. We'll be landing shortly. She exhaled, long and slow. Her war was over, but her story, it lived on. Not in medals or reports, but in the hearts of the pilots who saluted her across the sky. When the plane touched down, Raven stayed seated as everyone else rushed to stand. She took her time, letting the moment settle inside her like a closing chapter. As she walked down the jet bridge, her steps were lighter. Not because she was returning home, but because home had come to her, at 35,000 feet, on the wings of two Raptors paying tribute to a forgotten legend. Outside, somewhere far above the clouds, Falcon -1 and Falcon 2 flew their patrol route in silence. But they carried something in their hearts that no flight log would ever record. Respect, gratitude, and a story they would tell young pilots for years. The day they crossed paths with a ghost. A myth, a hero who sat quietly in 11F. Raven, if you felt the emotion behind this moment, if the story lifted your heart even a little, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. There are more stories to be told. Stories of courage, sacrifice, and the unbroken spirit of those who fly into danger so the rest of us don't have to. Thank you for watching. This is USA Battle Zone, signing off.